I was like, what is with Australians shooting when they don't need to? It's pissing me off. Like, dude,
All right, welcome to another episode of Two Fight Fans. We talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Colin,
and I'm the other Stuart.
and we had 315 this past weekend, and all of the implications that will come with now the new undisputed welterweight champion of the world. So yeah, Stewie, where should we start? What? Yeah, actually, give me your first initial thoughts. What do you give this card? You've asked me many times before. What do you give your overall grade for this card?
God damn, you're all over the place.
I know.
For the overall card, listen,
Yeah, your overall thoughts on it.
title fight. That was a B plus A minus title fight. That was a very
Yeah,
good title fight.
yeah.
The other title fight, let's not talk about that one. Let's talk
No,
about the only other good fight on this card. Ayman Zahabi, Jose Aldo. As much as it broke my heart, that was a B plus A minus fight. Everything else, kind of numbers.
yeah,
Kind of numbers. I'd
yep,
give this a C plus
yeah.
for a pay-per-view card. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I'm full agreement. It's in the C range this time.
But we have so much to talk about. Not only about our new champion, Flat Nose Jackie, who looks like he's got a nose sniffing a pie on a windowsill around the corner, which I love. But also, I mean, the implications, Colin.
I
The
know.
implications up and down this card. Colin, before we get to the implications, before we get to any of this, talk to me about what you saw in this welterweight title fight.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things with this. One, I was very impressed with Jack Della Maddalena because
Mhm.
I was not very familiar with his game before, and you're the one who introduced me to him. You described him to me as a very skilled and smart boxer. But
Yeah.
we had never mentioned anything about his kicking, his elbows or knees, anything aside from punching technique. And a lot of things I've seen has been basically, yeah, he is a good puncher,
Mhm.
and his we had not talked anything about his abilities to scramble, his takedown defense, or the ability to get up off of the ground against a strong grappler.
Mhm.
So we had even said this is going to become a striker versus grappler, but a striker in that like only boxing against a good wrestling game. Turns out our prediction of that entirely was wrong because
Yeah.
the night started off, and I remember you texted me after that first round. You went, "Oh no!" Like Bilal is going for the like outstriking, tepid kickboxing match, and
Mhm.
that was definitely what I saw. It was like I feel like Bilal always fights with a chip on his shoulder, which rightly so because everyone is counting him out. Everyone's not putting respect on his name and everything. Uh,
I mean, his nickname is Remember the Name, and
yeah,
people forget him constantly.
yes, yeah,
He's got it
yeah.
in his goddamn name. You gotta
You know,
remember it.
and you and I, we indeed the thing that we talked about most last time was not the fight, was the implications behind the results of this fight. But
Mhm.
but that's the thing. I feel like Bilal was trying to show that he could outstrike Jack Della Maddalena, and there were a couple of times where his striking was just a little bit awkward and off timing that it did catch Maddalena a few times, but he didn't capitalize on any of that. He was trying to go shot for shot. And it wasn't until what was it, the third or fourth round where he really tried to press against the cage and try to actually use some wrestling to take him down. And by then,
Mhm.
you know, it seemed like Maddalena just got into a rhythm. He was picking him apart. He was getting his shots in. But by the fourth round, I did have it tied 2-2.
Yeah,
What did you
me
have it?
too.
Yeah, I think we
I
both had
had
it
a
tied 2-2.
2-2. Yeah, going into the 5th.
Yeah, yeah. And what impressed me the most though was Della Maddalena's ability to one, counter with some like knees and like some really strong knees and some kicking that like gave Bilal a little bit of pause. And every time he did manage to get him to the ground, he was able to work his way back up to his feet where he was more comfortable,
Mhm.
where he had the advantage. And I was really, really impressed with that. So part of
Yeah.
me is disappointed that Bilal did not try to impose the same game plan that he did with Leon Edwards, where he just basically put so much pressure and pushed him against the cage and like just took him down. And I don't know if that's because he thought he could outstrike Jack Della Maddalena, or he felt like he kind of got sucked into all the criticisms that like, oh, he's a boring fighter. Oh, that's not the way to be like win as champion. But like it had worked before, and
Mhm.
I feel like he could have had more success with that if he started with that from the beginning, you know. But it just got
Yeah.
kind of into a rhythm where Jack Maddalena could, you know, get the timing down. He understood when he was coming in, and he had drilled it enough to actually work his way out. You know, there was never a time where like he was held down for so long that it was like the Leon Edwards fight, where it's like
Mhm.
clearly, obviously, this area is one sided here.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was my initial read as well, was that, like, man, I wish Bilal Muhammad was trying to impose that game plan more than he'd done against Leon Edwards, because he was kinda getting pieced up at range from Jack Taylor Maddalena, but I've watched this fight now 2 times. I watched it
Okay.
again this
Okay.
morning. 2 things stuck out to me. 1, when Bilal presses forward against Leon Edwards, like, backs himself willingly. The way Leon disengages is to just retreat on a linear line, just to go backwards.
Yes. Yes.
Jack Della Maddalena did such a good job, and, like, I didn't appreciate it as much the first time I was watching it or live with the fight, like, constantly resetting, turning, his
Yeah.
footwork and his constant resets and staying in the pocket while being just out of range, just uncomfortable enough where Bilal couldn't press forward. Like, Bilal was pressuring in his normal way. It's just Jack Della Maddalena did not respond in the same way that Leon Edwards did, which was to back up to the fence. And even when Bilal got Jack to the fence, I mean, Jack Della Maddalena was piecing him up, even with his back against the fence, or like roughing him up, turning him in a clinch, getting Bilal's back to the fence. Like, his footwork in the pocket was so much better than Leon Edwards, which we knew. Leon does not have good pocket footwork. Leon loves to just retreat and stay at kicking range and is very susceptible to pressure. But Jack Della Maddalena, his footwork, his constant turning, his constant shifting of stance meant that he was able to hold the center of the ring. And then even when Bilal would pressure him, he would pivot and change the angle and then immediately pressure Bilal. And Bilal's footwork, which we called out, is not very sophisticated. And
No.
so he
No.
was able to just hold the cage and piece up Bilal Muhammad. Like, I don't even know, because Bilal's shots in all of his fights in open space are not very good. He's very good at cage wrestling, though. So it's like there were 2 or 3 good shots and takedowns that he had against Jack in open space, but it was a lot of effort overall. And so, like, in rewatching, I was like, God damn, Jack Della Maddalena controlled this fight and controlled the pressure through his footwork, and Bilal was not ready to meet that footwork overall.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like, and then beyond that, like, I mean, Bilal came out of this fight with a broken nose, a broken orbital bone,
Yeah.
and did you see his fucking lip at the end of this
Yeah.
fight?
They said that that thing might require surgery. Out of everything else, like that's the
Yeah.
thing that's going to require surgery right now
I
to
mean, like,
fix.
a Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald-esque, like,
Yeah.
lip rip. Uh, like, Bilal Muhammad definitely went out on his shield and fought well, but I don't know if it's this thing. My initial read was like, "Oh, Bilal picked the wrong game plan. Bilal isn't doing what he needs to do." And, like, sure, he could have shot for more takedowns, but the his A game, which is pressuring someone to the fence, driving them into the fence, locking his hands and taking them down, it in rewatching, it struck me that Jack Della Maddalena took that away from Bilal so much more than I had initially given him credit for.
Mm.
Like, and that was something that, like, we had not seen in the Gilbert Burns fight. In the Gilbert Burns fight, he, like, immediately backpedaled to the cage. Gilbert Burns was able to immediately drive him there. He did not control the distance. He did not pivot constantly. Like, his his scrambling in the Gilbert Burns fight was good, but nowhere near as good as the Bilal Muhammad. Because like you called out, Bilal Muhammad got him down, and Flat-Nosed Jackie was able to get up to his feet pretty easily.
Yeah.
This struck me as like, I mean, that's like Ilia Topuria, like a lot of the young best prospects. What you really appreciate is that, like, in between every one of their fights, they seem to get exponentially better. And Jack Della Maddalena fought this fight exponentially better than any other fight he's ever fought.
Yes, yes. This was his best and also most diverse showing of his skill set.
Yeah, and it's not even like, oh, these were all skills he had shown before,
No, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
he did like it showed that like this 14 months off, he developed like he got 14 more skills, right? Like, and that's what you want. It's the same thing with like when we were watching Ilia Topuria come up. Like 2 or 3 fights before the Josh Emmett fight, he didn't look like a competent striker, and then he suddenly was a super slick boxer, and then he fucking out footworked Alexander Volkanovski, right? Like that's the sort of like every time they come into the ring, they're almost an entirely different fighter. They have the
Right.
same trends, they have the same like strengths and weaknesses, but they add so much more. And that's what Jack Della Maddalena looked like to me. Um yeah, man. Like I also I don't know how you felt watching this. Like him coming out to ACDC and like I just was like, whoa, Jack Della Maddalena's brought fun back to the UFC for a minute. Like, I haven't felt hyped watching a fight in a long time. And this, I was like, whoa, I feel hype watching this. This feels like I'm watching something like cool and momentous and like important for the sport.
Mhm.
Um, it was I had a blast with this fight, dude. This fight fucking rocked, I thought.
Yeah, I was very entertained. I was very excited. I am more excited about like because here's the thing. Like before, I thought like as soon as Shavkat gets ready and gets healthy again, he'll steamroll anyone here. And I still think he is the person to beat in the welterweight division. But I am more high on Jack Della Maddalena because I was like, okay, he has good hands, but what else does he have? And that this fight showed he has the skills befitting of a champion. He has the skills that show that he can do more than just that. He's not one dimensional. He's not a cheese fighter in that he has so many holes in his game.
A
So
cheese fighter.
you've never
God
heard that
damn.
term before?
I have heard it, but like, I
Yeah.
never thought we'd break it out here.
Or like a cheese champion, like
Yeah.
you've only got one thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I
No.
I was I was very impressed with it, and I was, and I was the last round is one of the best rounds that I saw because I remember we were like texting each other as it happened. I
Mhm.
remember when Bilal got him down early in the round. I was like, "Oh shit, that might
Yeah.
be it." I thought it was gonna be a whole like, um, oh fuck, who is it?
I
At
mean, Ayman
flyweight.
Zahabi versus
No, no, no,
Jose
no.
Aldo.
I mean that too, but no, no, no. At fuck. Who is it? Steve Erceg, when he fought
Oh,
Pantoja.
yes.
I thought
Yes.
I thought that was gonna be it. I was like, "Oh, fuck, that's
Okay,
it."
hold
But
on.
I know he
We
didn't shoot. He didn't shoot for it, but it just
Yeah,
it
but
it
Jack
ended
Della
with it.
Maddalena did shoot in this fight.
That's true.
Stupid.
A couple
And I
times
was
he
like
did.
what is with Australians shooting when they don't need to? It's pissing me off. Like, dude, I wanna fly down to that country. Listen to me, Australia, listen to me. I know you have the world's biggest spiders and the most venomous snakes. Stop shooting for takedowns. You don't need to do it. Ever. Ever. All of you are better at striking than the people you fight. Stop it. Stop it. If Robert Whitaker shoots against RDR, bro, it's over for that entire continent. Like it's
Come on, they have a champion right now.
they've got 2 champions. They got
Oh,
Volk
they do, they
and they've
do.
got Jack Taylor Maddalena. Yeah. But goddamn, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, no, but like I say, it started early on. I was like, "Oh fuck, that's it. That's gonna be it. Bilal is just gonna hold him down, and he's gonna win by position. That's just what's gonna happen. It's so close right now."
mhm.
But then he scrambled, he got to his feet, he was piecing him up on the feet again, and then he got taken down again against the cage. I was like, God, this is just going back and forth. And then he swung it back up to his feet again. I was like, God, it was so, there's so much drama, so much back and forth in that last round. And
Yeah.
I was very impressed by both of them, really. But but mostly Jack Della because I kind of written him off. I thought like, okay, it's good that he's getting a shot, but like there's too many holes in his game that I think Bilal's going to
Mhm.
take advantage of. But he showed that he plugged those up a bit, and he was able to like not only neutralize his deficiencies, but make his offensive potency even better with adding in the lower body with the knees and the kicking.
Yeah, 100%. It's I mean, he's the champion. He deserves to be the champion. We've been asking, is Bilal Muhammad truly the best welterweight? And Jack Dilla Maddalena proved that he's not. And but we gotta give credit to Bilal. He went out there. I mean, on my scorecard, and it sounds like most or two of the judge scorecards, he only lost 3-2. It
Yeah.
wasn't a wipeout. Um,
No, no, no.
he broke his orbital bone, broke his nose, split his lip horrendously. Um, Went out there at 37, I think, to do this, like,
Yeah, yeah.
an absolute stud. It really felt like, and I wanted to ask this, is this the final confirmation of the turnover of the welterweight division? Because I know we have Joaquin Buckley and Kamaru Usman coming up, and I know we have this coming Saturday, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales coming up. But it
Mm.
feels like there's been this big turnover between the Usman, Covington, Masvidal, Burns, Leon Edwards, and Bilal Muhammad. They're all one generation. And now we've got Maddalena, Rachmanov, Ian Gary, Sean Brady. We've got Joaquin Buckley coming up, Carlos Prates, Michael Morales. Like, it feels like we're finally hitting the full turnover of the welterweight division.
Mm.
Is that how you see this, or is this just like a, hey, this is just Jack beating up Bilal, but Bilal could beat a lot of those other contenders
No,
coming up?
I'm in agreement with you. I think this is the coming of a new generation,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is, and it's every generation, every division is going through that. And lightweight, I think by this time next year, we're going to be saying the exact same thing, if not sooner than that. And we've got a whole new generation, new crop of fighters coming in, and it's more of can they live up to the hype of their predecessors? Can they carry the division forward into something that's more exciting, more dynamic, more skilled, more exciting to watch?
Yeah. Well, talking
And
about lightweight, I mean, Ilya
yeah.
is the once and future king, so it's that's how that'll go.
Mm.
Yeah. It's well, let's talk well, let's touch on that. What I want to do is I'm going to ask you about the implications.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
want to ask about what we do at welterweight. So, God, okay. So the implications, Colin.
Mhm.
Sounds like we're gonna get Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena
Yeah.
and
Sounds
Chucky
like it.
Olives against Ilia Topuria. How do you
Yeah.
feel about those fights?
So one, like, okay, first of all, the fight that we all want to see is Islam versus Ilya. Like
Yes.
that at lightweight, that's the one we want. Now, I think you texted me this. If Islam moves up to welterweight, he's trying to become a two division concurrent champion, like double
Yes. He
champion.
said he's not going to drop the belt overall. So it
Yeah,
won't be a Ilya dropping so Alexander Volkanovski can regain the title against Diego Lopez.
yeah. Which I don't know. Like, I know we haven't had many double champs in the past, and it's like not everyone has cleared out the division before moving up to challenge for that. But it's really hard for me to get behind a champion who is going to essentially clog up two divisions at the top. Like when they haven't cleared out the division. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
so like, and then we just have more interim champs floating around. Like I don't. In terms of like the health of the division, in terms of who is designated as champion versus not champion, I don't like that.
Hmm.
Do I like Islam versus Jack Della Maddalena? Kind of, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I like Islam moving up and challenging himself that way. I do still wish though it was Shavkat. I really, really want him to be fighting for the champion. I want to see what he does because what I feel like that motherfucker has earned it, and I feel like he
Yeah.
is like you've called him before, the boogeyman in the welterweight division, but he just hasn't had his opportunity yet, and I want him to have the opportunity. I feel like it should be him and Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title next. I
Mhm.
think it should be Ilya versus Islam. But the question you asked me,
Mm.
how do I like these? Like these new fights of Islam and JDM, okay, fine, whatever. Charles and Ilya, that I can get behind
Mhm.
because I like what Ilya's done. I think he's done it, kind of like in a very impressive way. He's kind of in a way that breaks my heart, kind of going after my favorite fighters and just killing them left and right. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
really kind of upset by this kind of like Thanos approach he's taking. But
Oh, it's delicious. It's
but
so
I and
good.
I love Charles. I think this creates a really exciting and unique uh matchup where what I think is gonna happen is Charles is just gonna try to trade shots with him first. He's gonna get rocked and knocked down, and then we're gonna see, is Ilya able to follow up and finish immediately like he's done to so many people before? Or will Charles lull him in and try to get into a grappling matchup, and then we get to see? Because you've told me that Ilya was first a jiu-jitsu guy, but we haven't seen him use any of his jiu-jitsu skills. So will Charles force that out of him? And that both of those dynamics are very exciting. You've got a extreme power puncher versus like a kind of like pinpoint like accuracy striker that is like Charles Oliveira, who's very sharp and dynamic. And then you've got these two grapplers and the same people. Like what are they going to do with that as well when it does go to the ground?
Mhm. I mean, it won't go to the ground because I think Ilya is gonna kill Charles within 2
Oh
rounds.
no.
Um, but yeah. So we're talking about, like, what do we want, this to that. So I think we need to take it back. I think I wanna
Okay.
ask 2 questions overall, and they're both top 5 because we need to address welterweight and what do we do with welterweight? What are the top 5 fights to now make it welterweight moving forward? But first, now that we have this Islam, Ilya, all this fuckery, let's take a step back because you and I have both posited that Islam versus Ilya Topuria is the best fight you can make in the UFC right now. So,
Yes.
Colin, let's name the top 5 best fights you could make in the UFC right now. Not for the promotion, but for the fans.
Oh, Jesus.
What
Okay.
are the top 5 best fights we can make in the UFC? So we
Okay.
posit number 1, and do you still hold that Islam versus Ilya is the best?
Yes, I would say that is the number 1 for me now.
Great. What is number 2 then?
Um,
'Cause I gotta say, Islam and Jack Della Maddalena, that's number 2 for me.
oh, okay, but we're not taking like, if they're slotted for 1, they're not,
No,
like, taken
yeah,
out
it's
of the
just
mix.
what are
Just any
the
fight.
best.
Okay.
Yeah, if Dana White sat you down and said, "Tell me the best 5 fights that could possibly be made."
I'm gonna propose one for you. Okay, Islam and Jack Della Maddalena, I don't think it's number 2 for me, but it is definitely
Okay,
up there. I'll say it's, like, 4 or 5 maybe for me.
okay,
I would like to see nothing like, prohibiting or anything, either Islam and Shavkat
okay.
or Islam and Max.
Ooh, Islam and Max is good. So maybe Islam versus Max, but we know Max is gonna fight Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, I
If
know.
Dustin wins, you do Islam?
You mean if Max wins?
Yeah, 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 sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you do that over JDM,
Yes.
over the chance for Islam to fight? Alright, alright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got JDM, we've got Dustin, we've got Taporia. All of them are fighting Islam. Are there any other fights? We've only got 2 more slots that you think would be the best fight the UFC can make right now.
The best fights to make. And you're saying this the most entertaining or the ones that like
The ones you're
I
most
I
interested in
personally
seeing.
want?
Yeah.
Uh yeah. I got a couple. One you're not gonna like.
All right, lay it on me.
I want to see Tom Aspinall and John Jones.
No,
I
I
want
think
it. I
that's
want it.
absolutely a top 5.
Okay. Okay.
We
Thank
need to
you.
get that clarity. We need to
Yes.
have it
Yes.
happen, right? Like, there's not many stars in the UFC, and like this is the full handoff of the title. Let's see it. Let's see if John Jones really can fucking crack with this new wave of heavyweight, or if Aspinall's going to take it from Jones.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And uh and this is the fanboy showing in me. I want Alex Pereira to get. I want to see. I want it.
Nah,
I feel like he
fuck
deserves
that.
it.
Fuck that.
What's your fifth one then?
Well, we didn't even include Topuria versus Chucky Olives. That's gotta be in there,
Oh, okay.
right? And I would actually replace your Islam versus Max Holloway overall.
Mm.
I would say Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria,
Oh,
overall. Like, I
okay.
think that would be a great fight. Like, I think 2 of these fights include I mean, number 1 is Islam and Ilia, but if we can't get that, I wanna see Islam fighting at the welterweight, like, title. I wanna see him against Jack Della Maddalena. And then if Topuria can't fight Islam for the lightweight title, I wanna see him take on Chucky Olives or Justin Gaethje for that. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, Jones Aspinall. But, like, I mean, what it's really showing is that we wanna see Islam and we wanna see Topuria fight. Those are
yeah,
our 2 guys
yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, alright. As long as we're agreed on that.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
what we have to get to is the welterweight division has been shaken up entirely. I wanna ask you for, like, 3 or 4 fights. Who should fight next for the welterweight title against Jack Della Maddalena? Who are you most interested in seeing?
Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Rakhmonov? Alright. So
Yes.
not Islam.
Nah. I would rather see those lightweight fights that we're talking about. Islam versus Topuria,
Yeah.
um, Islam versus, the winner of
Max
Max
if he wins.
Holloway
Yeah.
and Dustin Poirier, like any
Yeah.
one of those. Islam versus Arman, like like
Yeah, I wanna see that fight. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Um,
So,
who who should Bilal Muhammad fight next?
ooh, I don't know.
'Cause he's part
It
of this old generation. He's beaten Leon. He's beaten Gilbert Burns, I think. Has he beaten Gilbert Burns? Yeah, oh yeah, he's beaten
ooh,
Gilbert
okay.
Burns.
Maybe one of these other, newer
He's
up and
never
comers.
fought Kamaru, and he's never fought Colby Covington. Do we wanna see Bilal kill Colby Covington? Jorge Masvidal's also rumored to be coming back. Like, should we put him
What,
against
really?
Yeah. Or he could fight Carlos Freitas. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
Yeah. Who should fight? Let's assume that you get your wish. Rakhmonov and Jack Della Maddalena fight for the title.
Alright, alright.
Who should be the 2 welterweights in the number 1 contender fight? Which 2 welterweights are you most interested in seeing in the number 1 contender fight?
Mm. Well, who does Sean Brady match up with next? Does he have a fight coming
He
up?
doesn't have one. It could be Ian Gary. It
I was
could
just gonna
be
say Sean Brady versus Ian Gary.
That's a fucking good fight.
Yeah,
That's a good fucking fight. I'd watch that fight. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's good. I think that's pretty good right there.
Yeah. That's a good one. And then what do we do with Joaquin Buckley? And what do we do with, like, I don't know. We have Leon Edwards floating around. We've got Joaquin Buckley floating around, which I think
Well,
Joaquin Buckley will kill Kamaru Usman.
yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. Yeah, like he's next.
but, like, if we assume Joaquin Buckley beats Kamaru Usman, what do we do with Joaquin Buckley and Leon Edwards and,
Walking Buckley and Leon
Carlos
Edwards, maybe.
you think? Alright.
Yeah,
Could do. Alright. Okay. Is welterweight suddenly becoming an interesting division, Colin?
I think welterweight is becoming interesting just because, like you said, there's a new generation of people coming in.
Yeah.
And like there are a few people who have really unique skill sets and talents that will make
Mhm.
their fights very interesting, just like Jack Della Maddalena, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and like some
Mhm.
of these other guys have unique skills that are going to be like when they're on full display, when they're at the highest level, what is going to come out. Like again, I was not expecting Jack Della Maddalena to have a performance like this. It's going to be on him to replicate this ability and to continue to build out of it. After all, he is what you said, 29. So, like,
Yeah.
what will he do next with that? And that's what I'm excited about. Shavkat Rakhmonov again. I just want to see him go for the
Yeah.
title. He
Yep.
deserves. I want to see what he does, and I want to see what people, if he gets the title, what are people going to do to try to solve his problem? Because
Yeah.
it's like you say, he is scary. He is the boogeyman in this division.
Mhm. Islam versus him would be a great fight. I mean, Islam
Oh
being
yeah,
up here would be cool too. Like, I do wanna see him versus Ilya. I think it's the best fight you can make, but would be cool, would be cool.
yeah, yeah,
Welterweight,
yeah,
suddenly super fun. A super fun division.
yeah.
Um, yeah, love to see it. Love to see it. But now we have to talk about a not so fun division. Dare I say, a definitively not fun division.
Yeah.
Valentina Shevchenko defeated Manon Fiorot 3 rounds to 2 across the board. Colin, how did you score this fight?
Wait, it was only 3 rounds to 2?
Yeah,
Oh,
48-47 across the board.
god. Wait, let me look back at our messages because I honestly, and this is probably what it is. I don't remember much of this fight. Like, I know the first round, she, like,
It
broke her
sucked.
nose,
Yeah,
and I really thought it wasn't that even. I thought she had at least 4 rounds. What did I score it? I don't even this is the problem.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
even remember, like,
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
what
look
does that
back.
say about this division, Colin?
Yeah, that it's fucking not great.
Yeah, it's not great. And here's the thing. Everyone was talking about Valentina Shevchenko, her defense record. She's the GOAT of women's MMA. When you're defeating Manon Fiorot in this manner, should I even be paying attention to women's flyweight, Colin?
Here's the thing, like, a lot of the people that we saw coming in because there were 3 women's flyweight fights, you know?
And they were not good.
They were not great, And it's one of those things where I sent this as a message to you, like, I feel like Shevchenko is now the women's flyweight version of the current version of Canelo, in that
Yeah.
she does just enough to win and not in an entertaining way, in that she feels like it's kind of like, "Okay, you have to beat me. Figure out how to beat me, and I'm just gonna do the things that I know, and I'm not gonna do any more. I'm not gonna put my foot on the gas. I'm not gonna try to end it. I'm just gonna, like, do what I need to do to win." And so far, no one has been able to punish or solve that yet. And Natalia Silva is supposedly gonna be the next one after her win over Alexa Grasso. I don't really see her beating Shevchenko either.
Yeah, like her game is super limited too. I mean, that's the thing is like this entire division is super limited.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's just boring. It's just not. And Valentina Shevchenko still has her athleticism, still has an amazing control of range, but like her skill has diminished. Like the number of tools she has like at her disposal has diminished. And it's unfortunate that no woman has ever caught up to her, but it's like you can clearly watch the number of tools both Jack Taylor Maddalena and Bilal Muhammad had in their fight, or even Ayman Zahabi and washed ass Jose Aldo. And it's just like, how can you be the champion of this division where you've got a third of the skill, a third of the technique? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
This fight sucked. I gotta be honest. I left after round 2 to the liquor store because I was like, I know this fight's gonna go 5 rounds, and I don't care. And I got back in the 5th round, being like, oh yeah, it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah, it was a bad fight. It was a bad fight. Colin, when is the scourge of Valentina Shevchenko gonna leave us, and when can we look forward to watching women's flyweight again?
I mean, okay, say she left right now, would you still be interested in watching women's flyweight? Say she
I'd say
retired
the
right now.
Yeah, I'd say the fights would probably be a little bit more engaging because there'd be a little bit more parity.
Mhm.
Like Natalia Silva versus Manon Fiorot. Like Fiorot, not very good. Natalia Silva, not very good, but like maybe slightly more engaging. Maybe. I don't know. Um, I know Shevchenko being there doesn't make it any more exciting. Uh, yeah. I mean, I like. There's this weird thing where like I don't want to like piss on women's MMA constantly, but it's like it's definitely in a downturn, right? Like I remember the Rose, Jessica Andrade, Joanna Jacek era of uh what was it? Strawweight. I remember fucking like Ronda Rousey, Kat Zingano, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm era. And like was the skill super high? No, but the fights were like engaging and like gritty and entertaining to watch. And now Flyweight is the champion of women's MMA, and the title fights are so fucking boring to watch.
Yeah.
They're so boring. It's just like I don't know what to do with this. Like we need maybe Pena and Kayla Harrison will be entertaining, but man, just fighting the most boring point fighting style, especially when yeah, I don't know. And, like, barely squeaking out against a man out Furo who looked very limited, I'm like, that doesn't inspire confidence in a champion. Um, yeah, I don't have much to say about this fight. Like, it sucked. The fight sucked. Whatever. I don't care. Like, I hope Shevchenko fights Natalia Silva or Zhang Weili or somebody soon, because
Mhm.
the whole women's side of the game is in desperate need of, like, a little bit of, like, vigor, overall.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of more of a bigger picture, like, meta discussion, but, like, Shevchenko's been the champion for so long. You should have coaches that are game planning for her and
Yeah,
developing,
yeah,
strategies and techniques because she's at the top. Like,
yeah,
when you're at the top, it's hard to stay up there because everyone knows what you do and they have to close the skill gap. Now, whether or not they can actually do that or not, like, is up to the person.
mhm,
But you should be able to develop someone that has the anti-Shevchenko strategy, that has anti-Shevchenko, skill set, you know?
yeah,
And we
yeah.
thought that was Alexa Grasso at one point,
Well, which we'll get to in a minute.
but then, like, a complete devolution from there, which makes it seem like that was a flash in the pan. So, like, I don't get I don't know how much do I put I don't wanna it sounds really shitty for me to say this. Do I put blame on the athletes or do I put blame on the coaching, you know? And I feel like I have to shift more of it to the coaching right now because there have been so many examples, and if you can't find the solution to that, like, you're not a really good coach then. Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I it's
Uh,
hard for me to say that, but I feel like that
it
should
makes
be the plan.
it makes sense, and, like, you and I spoke, like, off camera slightly about this, about, like, where did all the, like, athletes or where did all the leveling up go in MMA? Because it
Mm,
feels like it's been very stagnant for the past, like, 5 years where, like, there are not these breakthrough athletes, there are not these people innovating in a major way, there are people that, like there's so much tape, like you said, on Shevchenko. When there was tape on George St. Pierre, it routinely got harder. When there was tape on Jose Aldo,
yes.
it routinely got harder. When there was tape on Anderson Silva, it routinely got harder for him to defend his belt because they could pick up so much on it and they could game plan so well. And I'm seeing less and less of that sort of game. I mean, Jack Della Maddalena, that's why he's a breath of fresh air. Is it looked like they game planned perfectly for Bilal Muhammad,
Yes,
And
yes,
it's like we haven't seen that over the past few years, right? Like, where is the game planning from these teams? Where is the leveling up to reach where you need to be? This
right.
looked like a Menon Furo fight, as if Menon Furo just went in and fought it as if she was fighting Rose Namajunas or anyone else that she had fought. Like that is not typical, or that hadn't not been typical in MMA pre-COVID, and now it does seem to be kind of the norm.
Mhm,
Um, yeah, I don't know. It strikes me as like a larger trend across the UFC,
mhm.
where people just are not. I don't know if like tape study is like fallen by the wayside or like what the deal is, but like you're exactly right. It looked like Furo did not. She was just like, I'm just gonna go out there and try to do what I do, um, without any consideration to like how Valentina fights, and then it lost it her the fight. So like, now I will say like Valentina is we compliment her. She is extremely difficult to understand the range when it comes to Valentina because Valentina controls it so well. But I mean, if Alexa Grasso was able to beat Valentina Shevchenko, like what the fuck excuse do you have, Furo? Because we saw Alexa Grasso fight on this card, and I'll tell you what, she looked like dog shit. She looked so bad. Um, yeah. This was a super disappointing fight, and, like, I don't even know what to look forward to in this division. Like, maybe Zhang Weili will come up and fight
That's what I was
Valentina
gonna say.
Shevchenko,
Yeah,
but that's about it. It's like, even Natalia Silva, like, watching her, I was like, "Wow, this is pretty limited."
yeah.
Um, so yeah. What a bad fight. A bad fight. Good thing Flat-Nosed Jackie and Warrior Bilal Muhammad came out there, washed it out of our mouths.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the only other good fight on this main card, even though it was a heartbreaker. Ayman
Yeah.
Zahabi defeats Jose Aldo
Yeah.
2 rounds to 1. Colin, how did you score this fight?
I actually scored it 2-1 Jose Aldo.
Me
I
too,
ha
and I
I
think
had
the
first and
majority of
second
the
rounds to
people
him.
absolutely. I don't know how you give the 2nd round to Ayman Zahabi.
Nope.
I guess you can squint, but it seems like the vast consensus online is that Jose Aldo definitely won this fight 2 rounds to 1.
Yeah.
Now, we even texted about this. Jose Aldo definitely should have retired after this fight, right? Like, and if he had won, it might have delayed his retiring, and then he would have taken an even worse beating in his next fight. So it is sort of a like, I am thankful that maybe this caused him to retire earlier, but also he definitely won this fight. Colin, talk to me about this fight. What did you see? What stood out to you? Like, how do we even go about talking about this?
So, it was this weird fight for me. It was like we were there for me, it felt like I'm missing a piece of the puzzle, and I'm not too sure why. Like, what is going on? Like, why is he acting the way he is? Why is he fighting the way he is? Like, what is going on right now? Because like you even said, I think in the first round, you're like, "Uh-oh, I think Jose might be injured." And I was like, "Why do
Yeah.
you say like he's lifting his leg in this way? Like, I don't he's never done that before. He's getting kind of reckless. He hasn't fought like this since he was like a younger guy where you can kind of throw caution to the wind, and we haven't really seen this from him for a long time."
Mhm.
And it was like and I was wondering, like, okay, is he just trying to you know, trying to show that he still has it? Is he trying to like make up for the fact that he didn't make the weight, or like what or and also like part of me also was like kind of being cynical, like, okay, well, now is he just playing to his advantage of the fact that he didn't cut the weight and maybe Zahabi is like more dehydrated or like not as strong right now, so he can't take as much of a punch. So and he was just like kind of winging strikes. And almost immediately, as soon as he started attacking the body, I was like, "Uh-oh." Like, Stu might have called this one exactly right, because I
Yeah.
think in the first round, he ripped to Zahabi's body. I was like, "Oh, God." Like, again, remember I mentioned a few episodes ago, phantom pain in my liver
Yeah.
area? I felt a little bit of that one. I was like,
Yeah.
"Uh-oh," so, like but it was just and then at the end of or the beginning of that 3rd round, he had that flurry where he was just, like, chasing Zahabi down, like, trying to kick him while he was standing up, trying to flying knee him as he was like, stumbling back and just winging punches and putting everything he had just to try to end it right there. I was like, "Okay," like, on the one hand, I was like, "This is the old aggression that we used to see from Jose Aldo from the
Mhm.
the WEC days, or his early UFC career." And then just like how the last time he fought in Canada, he gassed himself out so bad. Do you
Yeah.
remember when he gassed himself out against Mark Hominick? Who, completely tangent side note, cool to see Mark Hominick in the crowd, right?
Fuck
Like,
yeah, dude, I was so happy to see
I
Mark
was
Hominick there. I was like, "This
yeah,
is dope."
yeah,
Yeah.
it was good to see Mark Hominick again. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, way to fucking go.
and Sam Stout, I was like, "Dude, these are
Yeah,
some old school Canadian fighters." I loved it. It was great.
yeah, I was happy about that. But anyway, so back to this, and then like just him, like, totally gassing out the end of that 3rd round and just, like, unable to do anything. I thought Zahabi was gonna like, he needed the finish, and I thought he was going to get the finish, but,
Yeah,
like,
me too.
he just didn't? So I was like, "Okay," like, well, with that flurry in the beginning and even with Zahabi's, like, come back at the end, Zahabi only got 1. And then at the end, when they announced the result, and they interviewed Jose Aldo, and he just said, like, "I don't have it in me anymore. That's why, like, I couldn't cut the weight. As soon as I went to cut the weight, my body said no, and like I didn't want to do it anymore. And this result kind
Yeah.
of shows that I don't have it in me anymore to fight." And for
Mhm.
me, that kind of like, all right, if that's true, this like answers all the questions. Like,
Yeah.
this is why you couldn't make weight. This is why you were fighting in a weird style or a different way than you have before. This is why, like, you were like making a big deal about getting kicked in the cup, but that second one didn't hit you in the cup. Like, so it's like it just kind of like all these weird little things that didn't line up. And when he said, like, it's not in me anymore. Like, I'm not that kind of fighter. I'm not that kind of person anymore. It's like, okay, like, yes, you should retire then. Because I remember
Mhm.
very as soon as he said that, it took me back to when I don't remember who he did it, but BJ Penn got beat up really bad in the ring. And he even said in his end fights, like, you know what, I don't got it in me anymore. I don't want to come home to my kids looking like this anymore. That's it. That's
Mhm.
it for me. And he fought like two more times after that. Like,
Yeah, it was the final Frankie Edgar fight that he had.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, and it was yeah. I mean, it really was like a I think that was because I said, like I did text you, I was like, "I think he might be injured because of the way he's fighting."
Yeah.
But it really when
I
he
thought he
said
was sick. I thought he maybe had
yeah,
the flu and was like, okay, he couldn't cut weight and that now he's like his first round, he's just going for everything. He's only got one round of it because he's sick. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, like that would make sense to me.
But in hearing that, which is like a he mentioned when he was cutting weight and it got hard, he heard a voice in his head being like, "You don't have to do this." And he for the first time, because this is the first time Jose Aldo's ever missed weight. As much as he's had weight problems, he's never missed weight in the past. And he finally admitted, like, or said to himself, like, "Oh yeah, I don't need to cut this weight. I don't want to." Right?
Yeah.
Or like, I don't want and like, dude, he's had a career. I mean, if you do anything for 21 years, which he's
Yeah.
done 21 years of this, and especially how difficult cutting weight is and difficult it is to diet and train and then actually get into a fight. Like, uh, yeah, everyone's gonna have those days, and he finally had it. Like, it's amazing it took this long for him to finally have one of those days where he's like, "I don't have it in me anymore."
Yeah.
Um, and then he still went out there and he fought like a fucking madman, and I thought 2 rounds, uh, but that 3rd round, I mean, he flurries. Man, and I feel slightly vindicated because Jose Aldo saw what I saw, which is like roast this guy to the body, roast
Yeah.
Amon Zahabi to the body
Yeah.
constantly. Um, but dude, that soccer kick he had, which just
Yeah.
like bounced Zahabi's head off it, and he is blasting him. Zahabi gets up, like credit to Zahabi for being able to do that. And then there's a still of Jose Aldo looking up at the clock, and they've only fought for like 2 minutes in the round, and
Yeah.
he looks so like, "Wait, I thought there was
Dejected.
only yeah, I thought this was only a 3-minute round. What the fuck? Like, how the" Yeah, he looks so disappointed and, like, so confused, like, "Wait, I thought the fight would be done." And for the rest of that round, he looked like he just kinda gave up.
Yeah.
Like, he just looked like he was like, "Fuck it. I don't care. I don't want to be in here anymore. I gave it my last, like, burst of energy that I have in my body for the rest of my life. I don't care. Like, elbow me in the head. I don't" like, he was barely doing anything, and it didn't look like it was because he was so gassed. It just looked like he mentally gave up and was like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I tried to cut. I tried to do this. I fought my fight. I'm done."
Yeah.
Um, yeah. It was
It was
what
kind of
what
it was sad
it
to
was
see that, you know.
yeah, what an inglorious end to the King of Rio, man.
I know.
Um, and what a like he came back because he had retired originally from the UFC
Yep.
after losing to Merab Dvalishvili and was gone for 2 years, and then he came back to the UFC, and we thought, "Cool, we'll get some Jose Aldo cool shit." And his last 3 fights, the last 3 fights of the King of Rio, when we had no right to believe he would ever come back, was Jonathan Martinez, which he won,
Mhm.
Mario Batista, and Amin Zahabi.
Yeah.
Colin, what should have been his last 3 fights in the UFC?
Oh. Well, I think your call of the Henry Cejudo definitely should have been one of them.
Yeah? Dom Cruz?
Yeah, if they were able to get that lined up, you know?
I mean, Dom Cruz fought in 2024, so could have done it instead of this fucking Jonathan Martinez or Mario Batista.
Yeah, yeah.
What about
Yeah,
Patricio Pitbull? We have
oh
Pitbull,
god. Yeah,
like, who
yeah.
just lost to Yair Rodriguez. Like, we could have done, and they were the 2 best 145ers at one point.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we could have had a Cejudo, a Dom Cruz, and a Patricio Pitbull as the last 3 fights for Jose Aldo, and instead we got Jonathan Martinez, Mario Batista, and Amin Zahabi.
Yeah,
How terrible the UFC did him.
yeah.
Um,
I kind of wish he just stayed retired, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, look, if the judges had done their job, he would have been, 2-1 in his last 3 and might have still retired. I
Yeah,
doubt it. And then he would have gotten smoked in his next fight. But
yeah,
like, what a bad, yeah, what a kind of an inglorious end to such an amazing career
I
overall.
know. That's the bigger thing. It's just like
Yeah.
this is what, especially like new generation like fans. This is what they're gonna remember him for.
Yeah.
They're not gonna remember the insane highlight, like, record-setting fights that he had, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I had him as my number 1
Yeah,
pound for pound fighter. And like, yeah, it was rough to watch him go
yeah,
through this.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else from this card, Colin? Benoit Saint Denis. Do we want to talk about that? What do you think about Benoit Saint Denis?
Uh, well, I called that one exactly right, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was very pleased with myself.
Yeah. I mean, but Benoit Saint Denis got lit up in this fight against the number 146th ranked lightweight. Do you think Benoit Saint Denis has any chance of remaining in the top 15? Because I certainly do not.
I think in the top 15, not the top 10. I think he could be a good gatekeeper for people getting into the top 10.
Dude, I don't even know if he can hang in the top 15. What are you talking about? It's lightweight.
What?
It's a murderer's row in this division.
Yeah.
He was getting lit up by somebody not even the top 100 of his division. You don't think Joel Alvarez, the training partner of Ilia Topuria, could have murked him?
I forgot about Joel Alvarez. I forgot that he was also fucking Ilia Topuria's trading partner too. That
Yeah,
you yeah.
Grant Dawson is below
Dawson.
him. Rafael Fiziev is only 2 spots above him. I feel like Rafael Fiziev would kill Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis' head ramrod straight. That dude does know nothing about head movement or defense. Like,
Yeah.
the next time he meets just like a decent puncher, he's gonna get obliterated. Obliterated.
Yeah.
Um, and again, no head coach. He's his own head coach.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he's still no coaching,
yeah,
huh?
man, it's for such a high, like, we were so high on him against Dustin Poirier as a prospect, and now, dude,
And that was
he just
that was only like what, 2 fights ago?
yeah, terrible, man. Like, he just is looking bad, 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 bad. Um, yeah, yeah, ugh, no, I think Benoit Saint like, here's the thing, Paddy Pimblett, I think, beats Benoit Saint Denis pretty easily, which, like, a year ago,
Oh.
I would not have said, but, like, I'm like, "Yeah, I think he can do it."
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible, man. Terrible. Maybe I'm fighting Michael Chandler. Then we can see who should go away forever.
Yeah, yeah.
You had texted me and said you wanted to talk about Natalia Silva and Alexa Grasso. God knows why, but tell me, what did you want to talk about in this fucking
Oh,
fight?
no, no, I mean, we basically just we kinda already talked about it when we talked about flyweight division, just like, what the fuck has happened to Alexa Grasso? Because when she beat Shevchenko and then took her to a draw after that, I
Mhm.
I kind of expected her to continue to develop and get a little bit better, but she has exponentially gotten worse. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand, like, how that
Yeah.
happened.
I don't understand it either. Maybe it has been a change at her gym, which is the Lobos gym. Um, because not somebody, Jack Slack had called out Diego Lopez, Alexa Grasso, and Irina Aldana are the 3 big fighters out of that gym,
Okay, okay.
and all 3 of them have shown routinely they know 0 about cutting the cage. I mean, Alexa Grasso couldn't track down Natalia Silva at all.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
she was just following her endlessly, and Diego Lopez was following Alexander Volkanovski endlessly, and Volka's got much trickier footwork, but, like, Alexa Grasso just couldn't
Couldn't cut. Like, she just
couldn't
couldn't
cut anything. She couldn't cut a slice of cheese, man. Like,
that
she couldn't do jack shit.
and what was pissing me off about that too was the commentary was saying like, "Oh, she's doing a good job of trying to cut." It's like, "No, she's not. She's not doing any of that. What are you talking about of her cutting the
No.
cage off for Natalia Silva? She's not doing she's running around.
Yeah,
She's
she
one
just
step
was
behind every time."
Yeah, following, which seems to be a trend at that gym. So I'm like, whoever the striking coach is, like, are they working on footwork or are they just like hitting heavy bags and fucking double end bags? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like they're practicing footwork at all at that gym. Um, yeah, yeah, I mean, she definitely looks like she'd regress because she used to, at least against Shevchenko, blitz through space, but Shevchenko rarely circles, right? She just kind of stands in front of you. We saw this at the Manon Fiorot fight. Like, she stands in front of you and waits to counter you. So maybe she didn't need to, but dude, Grasso looked bad, man. Looked real
Mhm.
bad
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah, she looked bad.
Yeah,
And
and Natalia Silva looked like good, but like I'm like, this doesn't show me anything that tells me you can beat Shevchenko because
no,
like,
exactly, yeah. That was my
yeah,
question was, people seem to be really high on Natalia Silva and her abilities, and I was like,
bro, can she
"Nah."
defend a double leg? Like, because it might be that all Shevchenko needs is a double leg to take you down, and it's like it's really sad when we're talking about an MMA division in the year of our Lord 2025, and we're like, can the number one contender defend a double leg? This is
Yeah,
crazy. Um, yeah, man. Not a good fight at all.
yeah. No, no, no.
Yeah. Anything else on this card?
No, I didn't watch any of the prelims, so
Yeah, they weren't good. You don't need to watch them. All right. The fight was kind of numbers. Lot
Yeah.
of numbers fights on this one. Um, I will say Mike Malott proved me wrong. Knocked the fuck out of Charles Radke, but I still don't have high hopes for Mike Malott. But yeah, it felt like it was the Jose Aldo and Jack Taylor Maddalena fights that were really impressive
Yeah. Oh,
overall.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So we've talked about the implications. We've talked about the best welterweight fights to make. Look, there's another fight card coming up this weekend. Is it an Apex card? Yeah. Is there any chance we're going to talk about anything other than the main event? No. So I think, Colin, what we have to do, now that he's officially retired for the second time, is do a retrospective on the King of Rio, Jose Aldo,
Yeah,
for our
I'm
upcoming
agreed.
podcast. I
I'm
think,
agreed.
yeah, I think that's what we got to do. As much as it's going to end in him losing to Ayman Zahabi, which is a horrible sentence to say out loud, we got to do it for Jose. It's, yeah. And kind of walk people through because, like you said, the people that just started in 2020, they're only going to know him across a couple of bad fights. But he was so amazing for so many years. And like you said, his career in the UFC started in Canada against Mark Hominick, in which he gassed out in the final round. And his UFC career ended in Canada, gassed out in the final round. Um,
Yeah.
Something very interesting about that overall. Yeah. Anyway, well, look, we've got a new welterweight champion. Hopefully, Shavkat fights him. It could be Islam. Who's to say? All I
Yeah.
know is that Islam and Ilya are the two fighters we just want to see fight endlessly overall.
Pretty
Maybe
much.
sneak a little Shavkat in there. Yeah. Yeah. And then we've got some good cards coming up later, but not for a little bit. We got to deal with some shitty Apex slop for a while.
Mhm.
But such is life. Such is life. Well, this has been Two Fight Fans podcast. I'm one Fight Fan Stewart.
I'm the other Colin.
Remember, if you meet a man in an alley who has a flat nose, stay away from him. He's a bad person who's gonna hurt you. All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.